Now imagine this. You're in an old, creaky house. Every corner is covered in dust. The walls feel like they're breathing. And tucked away in a locked room is a wooden figure, life-sized, painted. It's watching you, and somehow it looks exactly like you. You move it to the attic. The next morning, it's back in the hallway. No footsteps, no sounds, just the companion, watching. This isn't a ghost story. It's a slow, creeping descent into something much darker. Welcome to the Silent Companions. 2 dots. The story I just teased? It's not from a movie. It's not a campfire tale. It's from a book. One that doesn't scream in your face, but whispers and waits. It's called The Silent Companions, written by Laura Purcell, a master of modern Gothic horror. This book doesn't rely on jump scares or cheap tricks. Instead, it wraps you in dread, softly, slowly, until you start checking your own mirrors a little more carefully, set in Victorian England. A time when grief was private and women's fears were often dismissed as hysteria. This novel brings together 2 timelines, one terrifying curse and something lurking in the dark that refuses to stay still. But what exactly are the silent companions, and why do they feel alive? Let's step into the story. But fair warning, some doors once opened don't close so easily. Her name is Elsie Bainbridge. At first glance, she seems like a woman from any Gothic novel, well-dressed, well-spoken, and freshly widowed. But the truth is, Elsie is unraveling. She's sent away to her late husband's crumbling family estate, a place called the Bridge, not to recover, not to rest, but to disappear, because something about her husband's death doesn't sit right with anyone, not even her. She's grieving, she's pregnant, and she's being watched, not by the maids, not by the villagers, by something else. From the moment Elsie steps inside that house, it feels wrong, too quiet, too cold, and the people around her, they're scared. Of the house, of the room no one enters, and especially of the wooden figures stored inside. But no one will tell her why. And as the days go on, even Elsie begins to wonder, is it the house that's haunted? Or is she? The Bridge, a name so simple, but it holds a weight that's impossible to ignore. It's not just a house, it's a sprawling, decaying mansion lost in time, and it knows more than it lets on. When Elsie steps through the front door, it's like she enters another world. The air is thick, the rooms are vast but empty. Nothing feels alive here, just forgotten. Every corner of the house is shadowed, like it's hiding something. The house's servants act strange. They avoid certain rooms. They speak in whispers. And when Elsie asks about the locked doors, no one answers her. Not directly, at least. It's as if the house itself is watching her, waiting for her to discover. Something it's been keeping secret for generations. And the townspeople? They're no help either. They talk about the house in hushed tones, about how its past is cursed, how it changes people who spend too long inside, and how every member of the Bainbridge family seems to leave it, a little different. But no one has the courage to say it outright. What really happened to the family before Elsie? Why does the house seem to resent her presence? The house, the Bridge, is not just a place. It's a puzzle with pieces that don't quite fit. And the longer Elsie stays, the more she feels herself becoming part of it, trapped within its walls, like something from the past has decided to hold her here. It begins with a figure, a silent companion. At first, Elsie doesn't think much of it. It's just a strange, life-sized wooden statue, painted with a cold, lifelike expression. But something about it feels off. She finds it in a room she never expected to see. It's tucked in a forgotten corner of the house, and when she walks in, it's almost as though the figure is waiting for her. It's too detailed, too still. Its painted eyes seem to follow her as she steps closer. She tries to dismiss it. It's just an odd piece of art, she tells herself. Nothing more. But the very next morning, it's no longer in that corner. It's moved. It's staring at her from a new spot in the hallway. Elsie thinks she's losing her mind. Maybe it's her grief. Maybe she's imagining things. The housemaid, frightened, begs Elsie to leave the figure alone. But Elsie, confused and intrigued, moves it to the attic. It's not a person. But when she wakes up the next morning, there it is again, back in the hallway. Not just in the hallway, though. Now there's another one, and then a third, all of them lifelike, all of them eerily familiar. They're not just figures anymore. They're watching her, waiting for something. Each time Elsie tries to move them, they return to their spots. It's as if they're part of the house, part of the curse. And no matter what she does, she can't escape them. They're alive in a way she can't explain. And with each companion that appears, the house grows colder, the air heavier, and Elsie, she begins to wonder. In her desperation to understand what's happening, Elsie stumbles upon an old, dusty diary, a journal belonging to someone named Anne Bainbridge, an ancestor of her late husband. And the moment she opens it, the house seems to grow even colder. Anne's words are unsettling. She writes about strange happenings in the house, but not in the way Elsie expected. There's no mention of ghosts or shadows, no mention of anything that would make sense. Instead, Anne talks about wooden companions, figures that appear out of nowhere, and a strange, unspoken bond they seem to have with the women in the Bainbridge family. Anne describes them as something more than just art. She calls them vessels, objects that hold something alive. In the diary, Anne also writes about a child who seemed to vanish one night. Anne swears she saw the child's eyes inside one of the companions, but when she tried to burn the figure, the flames wouldn't touch it. And as Elsie reads further, the pages begin to take on a darker tone. Anne speaks of a curse tied to witchcraft, to the bloodline of the Bainbridge family. It's as though the companions were part of some twisted ritual, meant to bind souls, to trap them within the wood, to keep them from leaving. The journal mentions a woman, one who no one else could see. Anne's description is chilling. She calls her a shadow, a dark presence that followed her family for generations. And in the final pages of the diary, Anne writes about one last companion, a figure that looks exactly like her. Exactly like her. Elsie's heart races. The house is full of secrets, and this journal only deepens the mystery. Could the companions be connected to Anne's fate? What happened to her, and why is it now happening to her? Elsie begins to wonder if the curse has followed her here, and if there's any way to escape it before it's too late. At first, the companions are just there, still, silent, watching, but then they start to take on a life of their own. Elsie begins to notice things, small, unsettling things. The air feels heavier. The silence is deeper, thicker, like the house itself is holding its breath. One night she hears the creaking of wood, not outside her door, but inside her room. She checks the window, the floor, nothing. But when she turns back to the corner, there's one of the companions, just standing there, staring. It wasn't there before. She knows it wasn't there, but there it is, as still as the house itself. The fear begins to sink in. Elsie starts locking the figures away, storing them in rooms, closets, anywhere she can think of. But when she wakes up, there they are again. Out in the open. More of them. They've moved. At first, she tries to tell herself it's just her imagination, that maybe it's the grief, maybe it's the isolation, maybe the house is just playing tricks on her mind. But it's not just her. The servants are terrified. They refuse to enter certain rooms. They whisper about the companions with fearful glances, as if they know something Elsie doesn't. The companions are no longer just statues. They're now part of the house's heartbeat. Every day, more appear, and every day, the house grows colder, darker. The strange occurrences grow more violent, more intense. Things are moved. Objects go missing. The house shifts when Elsie isn't looking. And sometimes, the companions aren't just still anymore. They speak, but only when she's alone, and no one believes her. Is she losing her mind? Or is something else alive inside the house? Elsie can't escape the companions. No matter what she does, they always return. And every time she sees them, it feels as if her mind is slipping further away. The house is no longer just a setting, it's a cage, a maze with no way out. She starts questioning everything. Is she seeing things? Has grief taken control of her mind? Or is there something truly evil in this house? The servants start to avoid her. They whisper behind her back. They refuse to come near her rooms. The house feels more alive than ever. But it's not in a comforting way. It's as if something inhabits it, and that something is waiting for Elsie to lose her mind. Doctors are called. They suggest rest. They suggest isolation. They suggest that perhaps it's her grief. A widow mourning the loss of a husband who might not have died in the way she thinks. But that doesn't help, because the companions don't stop. And neither does the feeling that the house is closing in on her. Elsie tries to fight it. She locks the companions away, moves them, burns them. But they always return, no matter what she does. She starts to hear whispers at night, not from the servants, but from the companions themselves. Faint murmurs, voices calling her name, pleading with her. Or maybe it's just her mind breaking. Maybe it's the isolation. The walls are closing in. And the worst part? She starts to see her own face in the companions. One of them looks just like her. Her eyes, her features, her smile. But when she touches it, the cold wood doesn't feel like wood anymore. It feels like something else. The more she interacts with the companions, the more her own reflection begins to warp. Is she becoming one of them? A silent companion herself? Trapped in this house, unable to leave. Elsie's world is falling apart. And the scariest thing? She can't tell if the house is haunted, or if it's her mind that's slowly unraveling. The truth, as Elsie learns, was buried long before she arrived. But the house remembers. And now, through Anne's diary, it's ready to reveal its darkest secret. Centuries ago, in a time when superstition ruled over reason, the Bainbridge family wasn't just rich. They were feared. And it all began with a woman, a distant ancestor named Josiah Bainbridge, a man obsessed with power and control. He married a woman rumored to be a witch, a woman who whispered to shadows and carved strange symbols into wood. She was gifted, or cursed, with the ability to bind souls, and she created the first companion, a wooden figure, carved by hand, but more than art. It was a prison, a vessel, for spirits, for punishment, for silence. They say she used the companions to trap people, servants who disobeyed, family members who shamed the Bainbridge name, even children. She silenced them all. The ritual was simple, a name, a lock of hair, and blood. Each companion holds a soul. And they don't forget. They remember everything, every scream, every betrayal, every last breath before being trapped in unblinking stillness. When the villagers learned of her sorcery, They stormed the house, tried to burn it all down, but they were too late. The woman was gone, disappeared, and her creations remained. The Bainbridge family locked the companions away, swore never to speak of them again. But curses don't die. They wait. And over the years, they've waited for someone like Elsie, someone to awaken them again. Because the companions don't just haunt the house, they become it. And now, they want her. All the whispers, all the eerie figures, the diary, the servant's fearful silence, Elsie's descent into madness. It all leads to this moment. As Elsie searches for one final answer, she comes across a hidden room, tucked away in the deepest part of the house, a place even the servants feared to enter. The air is thick, suffocating. Dust clings to the walls and the floorboards groan underfoot. In the center of the room, a final companion stands. This one isn't just any figure. It's not lifeless. It's alive. This companion looks exactly like her. Not just the face, the posture, the way it stands, even the small familiar movements. Elsie stands frozen. It's a mirror, a reflection, but one that's not just watching her. It's mocking her, a twisted version of herself. And it's been waiting for her to find it. Then, in a horrifying moment of clarity, Elsie realizes the truth. The silent companions. They're not just made of wood. They're souls, trapped inside the figures, trapped for eternity. Anne Bainbridge, the diary's author. She was the first. The curse began with her, and it was passed down through the generations, to every woman in the Bainbridge family, until Elsie. And now, Elsie is no longer just the observer. She is the final piece. She's been part of this twisted ritual all along. The moment she set foot in the house, the companions started to move, and now it's her turn. She feels the compulsion, the pull, to join them, to become one of them. In a split second, Elsie's reflection smiles at her, and she knows she's no longer in control. As she reaches out, the room grows colder, the house grows darker, and the companions, they're waiting for her. So, what do we make of the silent companions? It's not just a ghost story. It's a story about grief, about isolation, about how sometimes the scariest thing isn't a haunted house. It's being trapped inside your own mind, not knowing what's real and what's slowly unraveling your sense of self. Elsie's journey is terrifying not just because of the companions, but because we feel her slipping, bit by bit, into something she can't escape. Her pain, her loneliness, and that house. They all feed each other. And maybe that's the true horror here, that the monsters aren't just made of wood, they're made of memories, of trauma, of secrets no one ever wanted to speak aloud. So the next time you pass an old doll or a painting whose eyes seem to follow you, ask yourself, is it just your imagination, or is something watching, waiting, remembering? Thanks for sticking around till the end. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more haunting tales just like this one. Let me know in the comments. Do you believe objects can hold energy, or even souls? Until next time, keep your lights on, and whatever you do, don't stare too long at the silent ones. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.